Morning. It is Friday. It's so funny because I have to think about it every time I do this. I realize I'm really far away from you and I don't want to be that far away. Okay, I think that's better. Is that better? Hi. I always have to think about it, which is kind of entertaining. Um, it just shows. So quantum time is kind of crazy, and I end up forgetting kind of what day it is. Sometimes I always seem to get to all my appointments and stuff, and I'm very conscious of what I have to do each day. It's not that I'm not conscious of that there's stuff that needs to be done. It's more the fact that it's labeled Monday, it's labeled Tuesday, it's labeled Wednesday, like the label of it is something that I'm just like, meh. So hi, welcome to Tea Time Togetherness. I have my lovely little, it's all about the love. I have my little heart pendant here. I got my little heart here. I'm just a little chilly today. You know how sometimes you get that little chill and you just can't seem to kick it? I might be fighting a cold in this house. I'm not quite sure. So snuggling up and keeping warm. Yeah, Tea Time Togetherness today. What are we talking about? Today is all about crystals. I realized that I use crystals a ton in my life and I don't really think about it anymore because they're just kind of there. They're kind of a part of the everyday. And when something is part of the everyday, you don't really recognize it necessarily as something special and or something that other people may be curious about or or you don't recognize it that it's there so much until it's gone. So crystals are quite a part of my life. So yeah, so I wanted to share a little bit about how you can use them, how you can choose them, and I figured we'd dive into a little Iolite together because I was just gifted this beautiful, 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 beautiful orb of Iolite. So we're going to talk about him a little bit more. I'll show you one of the books, our go-to books that we have in this house. It's actually a set of three. We only have two right now. The third one is on the list, the wish list, because I need more books. I've got bookshelves full of books. I love books. So we're going to dive into that guy a little bit today as well. But let's start off with what's important. What's in your cup? Oh, mmm, mmm. This morning's a little bit different in my cup. Let's see. What do we have in here? We have it. It's called Gasagogo. Um, it's a formulation. Oh, I'm spitting. It's a formulation I made long, long time ago, but still gets used in this house. And what is in this guy? So there is cardamom, there is caraway, and there's fennel. All delicious, all for the stomach. I was gonna say stummy. Your patience is much appreciated today. Very much for the tummy. And just comforting. And I find when things are feeling a little bit disheveled, I tend to go for the stomach because often we have digestive upset or something just isn't right within our digestion, even though it may not be manifesting as anything. But that's often where I start because it's how we're digesting our environment. So let's start there. So who am I and why am I here? For those of you you may know me already, but if you don't, my name is Hilary Raven Porter. I am an integrative healer and an ascension guide and mentor. I work with people to tune into their core expression, into their core truth. Often they are in that transition mode of going from where they are now to where they want to be, but it's over that threshold into tuning into that inner truth and being okay with it, feeling safe enough in doing that, stepping over of that threshold. They feel safe enough and they feel heard and they feel seen because they are finally able to express those parts that may not feel beautiful or maybe are absolutely glorious, but they've always been told no. So I help with people in uncovering that expression, tuning into it, being in love with themselves, connecting to the divine, their divine self, and the intuition that is already within them. I do it through multiple different wisdoms that I have at my disposal and that I love tuning into, especially esoteric acupuncture, especially Tamiana crystal healing and plant spirit medicine, as well as being a spiritual intuitive. So there's lots of channeled guidance that comes through with my clients, and it's beautiful. And I'm so very grateful to be able to be in this space. I was actually just thinking about it this week and how much abundance is in my life in all aspects, and the fact that part of my life is being able to show up and share all of this and to watch that there's this like change from pain and from like this to coming in, and there's just like clarity, and there's this glow, and this just ah and there's often a very big turning point of just like, oh my goodness, you've stepped over that threshold completely, and now we're just integrating it completely. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I absolutely am grateful to be on this journey with people, and for their faith and their trust in allowing me to help guide them on that journey, and the faith and trust they have in themselves to make the journey. It's a beautiful thing. But today is all about crystals, which I actually use within my session. So I'll touch base too about how you can use them. So where should we start? First, if you were on or if you were watching the replay, I would love to hear from you. Let me know that you're here. Just a little love, a little thumbs up, a little like. What's in your cup? What's your favorite crystal? Or what do you want to know about crystals? Excuse me. So if I don't touch base on it today, I will come back and I'll check out the comments and stuff like that, and maybe could go on another video and talk a little bit more about these extra things that you would like to know. But yeah, what's your favorite crystal? So where should we start? Should we start with Iolite? Let's start with Iolite. So this is Iolite. I really don't know that much about it, so we're going to learn about this together today. I know a little bit about it. I looked into it. How did this guy come to me? So, can you see this beauty? So he's heavy. Like this is like my fingers are straining holding this guy. Let me see if I can find. So he's got these inclusions on him. He's very green. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but can you see right there? There's an, you can see the little crack going like this. It's a infinity symbol with a longer butt end and then a shorter other end. But this guy, so I had a session. If you've been following along with me, you'll know that I'm currently in the creation and release of, so I've practiced Tamiana crystal healing, and I've created a full series program, including the essences for the planes, and we've been moving through it, me and a couple other people, a couple of my lovely guinea pigs. They've been beautiful. But this came up when I was receiving a Tamiana crystal session. This was channeled, the Iolite amongst, who else was with there? There was Iolite, and there was Giraffe, and there was a cup. Who's the other? I can't remember. It's in my notes, but there was another animal guide that came up with the Iolite. And I actually popped on live and did a little discussion about that, about the releasing and versus clearing, and about a little bit about what the session was. So you can always pop over to my YouTube channel to check in on those. Did I already post? Anyways, you can check on over there. I post all my videos. I upload them up onto there as well. So there's a nice little, just Hilary Raven Porter. But this guy came up, and I was like, I need to go get one. I need to go get one. I need to go get one. It was in my mind. And so my beautiful partner, there was a crystal and gem show. I wasn't able to go to it. I was doing something else. Oh, I was out of town. I was at Being Held, connecting in with some other people. And so he went to the Rock and Crystal show and searched for one for me and found this absolutely gorgeous. Isn't he gorgeous? So beautiful. Powerful. It's like, takes a while. So when you have orbs, when you have crystals and you're holding them, they're often quite cold, but they will heat up. They will charge as you're holding them. And for myself, once it is warm through and through, that's when I know I am done sitting with it. This guy, I haven't found a timeline yet. I haven't sat with him super long yet. By super long, I mean like an hour. But I was holding him for, when we first got him, it was about 15 minutes. And he just started getting warm. And I was like, okay, this guy is going to be a powerful. As an example, before we dive into Iolite, tangents. But, so, I was holding Iolite, and all of a sudden they're like, I want to be beside Angelite. So this is Angelite. This, I used to have a necklace of this that was this huge spiral. It was like the shape of my, size of my hand. Unfortunately, I dropped it and it broke many moons ago. I've yet to find a piece like that. But this is Angelite. This is another orb that I have. And they just love each other. This is like the moon to the Iolite. So these two together, just like I can feel the current. Goes up one arm and it peaks right at the base of the skull. And then it goes down through the heart with the two, and then up through the skull. So it's kind of creating like a diamond-like effect. The current. So those guys, those are the two orbs that I have. But this guy, he warms up pretty quick with me. So something about Angelite, and we'll talk about this a little bit further. We're going to talk about ways to use crystals. The thing with Angelite is you can't get them wet. You have to be very careful. I mean, if a little bit of sweat gets on them, but like, so one of the ways they talk about when caring for crystals, we're not going to dive into crystal care much today, but one of the ways is to run them in water. Angelite is a no-no for that guy. Don't want to soak them in water because another way you can use them is to infuse your waters. Angelite is a no-no for that guy. If they get wet, I don't have one anymore. I actually had a cute little egg one, and I was using it on a treatment, and it was like, you need to give me to the client. And so I no longer have that one, but it had little inclusions, and it's where the water drops had gone and where the water had gone into. It turns into gypsum, which I had no idea for the longest time, and then I discovered that. So there's so much to know about crystals. We'll go into I have some other, should I just show you? Yeah, let's just show you some of the others that I have right here right now. They just called and were like, I want to be shown. Do you know what this guy is? Pretty sure you do. This guy is the same as this guy, just a different form. So this is a rough hewn amethyst. So very good for protection, but also drawing in the divine messaging. This guy, I was so blessed with these. I went down to Burning Man, oh my goodness, 6 years ago was the last time I went. And one of my friends is a geologist, and he was a blessing, and we drove in together and stuff. But he's like, hey, I have a gift for you. And he comes out, and no word of a lie, there was this bag that was like about like that, and it was full of rose quartz that he had harvested on one of his sojourns. And he's like, take as little or as much as you want. Well, I was flying and I was packing all my stuff in my hiking backpack on my back. And you can imagine how much a bag of that weighs. I obviously wanted to take it all. But there was a couple deciding factors. One was definitely my ability to carry, but the other one was I didn't want to haul all these to myself. So, needless to say, I did take quite a bit. It weighed me down quite a bit. I only have a few pieces left because I did come home and I gifted a lot of it. But I got some really beautiful big chunks that are around the house. And yeah, who else do I have here? And then, yeah, so this is one of my altars, my many, many altars in my house. And I've just kind of started sitting in front of this guy to say hi to you guys. So I found this. This is my look at this beautiful case. Isn't this gorgeous? A random thrift store find, but look how beautiful that is. So this is my new crystal case. I don't know if I have anything else in here that really wants to come say hi right now, but it holds a little bit of everything in here. Lots of crystals. You probably know, here, let me show you this guy. This guy wants to come say hi. Where are you? Oh, you're in there. But like, just clear quartz. This guy's really cool because he's got the little appendage, right? But the clear quartz, you'll probably recognize the very common clear quartz, right? The shards. Actually, I'm going to keep that guy out for a little demonstration. So those guys. It's really important if you're packing your crystals around. Mine are sitting in this box right now, but anytime I pack them around, because I do take them into sessions. I have some that are session specific. I make sure to wrap them. So make sure to wrap your crystals. I learned this the hard way too. This is a while ago. Actually, it was a while ago that I learned it, but I'd forgotten it during one of my markets last fall, and I came home and the tips were dulled. Some of them were broken off on some of my crystals. You can crack your crystals as well if you don't wrap them up when you put them together in a bag to transport, because you have to think hard against hard, right? So let's talk about Iolite. Iolite. Okay, let me remind you. Iolite, look at that beauty. Look at him. He's just like, he's so heavy and beautiful. So when you have crystals, it's really good to have a trusted source for information. Some of the things we're going to talk about, so for example, uses, like I said, if you're having infused water, some are toxic. So we don't want to infuse our water with those. And so it's really good to have a good source. You could go on the internet and have people being like, hey, yeah, you can totally. And then you go to another website and they're like, no, 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 don't use that one. And then you go to another website and they're like, well, maybe. And I do it like this, but so you want to have a good trusted source. The books that we love in this house have a couple different crystal books, but these crystal Bibles are pretty well known. You see that? So we have the Crystal Bible. This is number one. Excuse me. Oh, what's going on there? And then we got number two. And there's a third one. We haven't quite gotten there yet. But Iolite is in the first book here. So what's really great about these books, one, this is all the guidance that she's channeled, but she's also done a lot of the research on as well. So the Crystal Bibles. So they tell you, they give you a picture. So you can see there's a picture there. And then it tells you the color, the appearance, the rarity, and the source that it usually comes from. And then it goes into different things like attributes, healing, and where you can position it on your body. And then finding a good source for these guys tend to also say whether or not it's okay in water and stuff like that, or if it's like toxic. My other book goes into that as well. And then there's a couple of you have to make sure that what you're using you trust. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so let's dive into Iolite. Iolite, so it is a vision stone. Vision. It activates the third eye and facilitates visualization and intuitive insight when all the chakras are in alignment, which was interesting for me when it came up during my session because the Tamiana is about balancing. Part of its benefits is that it balances your chakras. It goes in and it takes up the different things on the different planes that are not serving you and helps to like rejig things. It stimulates connection to inner knowing. It is used in shamanic ceremonies and assists in journeys out of the body. I astral travel a lot. You're just saying. In contact with the auric field, Iolite gives off an electrical charge that re-energizes the field and aligns with the subtle bodies. There's been a lot of, so I work within the subtle energy realms, and there's been a lot of this coming up for me, of just even stepping more into my power. For the longest time, I was like, no, it's okay, and like I can treat everything, and I'm a Western herbalist, like Western medical herbalist, and I can totally, if somebody comes to me with these conditions, and that's true, I can treat that, and I can help that, and I can guide you through that, but that isn't where my passion lies, and I would hide behind the physical realms and saying and being and doing the way that I felt I needed to. And just over the last year, I've just stepped more and more into my power, and it's kind of been culminating, which has been delicious and beautiful. And even as a healer, we're still doing the work. I get very suspicious when somebody's like, oh no, I'm done. I've totally finished the work. We were human. We don't totally finish the work. We're continuously learning. So, excuse me. Psychologically, Iolite aids in understanding and releasing the causes of addiction and helps you to express your true self, freed from the expectations of those around you. At a mental level, Iolite clears thought forms. Emotionally, Iolite releases discord within relationships. As it encourages taking responsibility for yourself, it can overcome codependency within your partnership. Iolite creates a strong constitution. It reduces fatty deposits in the body, mitigates the effect of alcohol, and supports detoxification and regeneration of the liver. This stone treats malaria and fevers, aids the pituitary, third eye, pineal, all of that's behind there, plus pituitary with the thyroid, the sinuses, and the respiratory system, and alleviates migraine headaches. It also kills bacteria. Position as appropriate and on the third eye, if all chakras are aligned. I don't know how I would hold this on my third eye. I might have to like lay back and I don't know. It's pretty crazy. So that's Iolite. It was very interesting when we read up on it. So this came through as a channel. I'd never really, like, I'd heard of it here and there, but I've never really like attuned to it. And then it came up, and then when I read the book, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so the worlds that I walk in right now. expressing myself even further and further and further. It's how I help guide my clients is through. So this is going to be coming into sessions. It's beauty. But how do you choose? How do you choose your crystal? So this one was gifted to me, but it was gifted in multiple ways. One way was that it was channeled down through a session and through the divine guidance. And then it was like, oh, so it was brought into my field. It was like, this is something that's with you. Look into it and then go from there. So it can be channeled down through a healer. It can be channeled through yourself. You can just keep seeing it. Be aware of what you're seeing. Maybe it's like, oh, I saw Iolite here, I saw Iolite here, and you're conscious of it. You see something 3 times, you're like, oh, okay, I need to really be paying attention 3 or more times, right? It can be gifted to you from somebody. Maybe they knew why they were gifting it, maybe they did not. They were just like, this just called to me for you, right? So gifted in 2 different ways that way. Maybe you just have a pure attraction. Maybe you're out looking at crystals and you're just like, that's the, like, I just, no, this is mine. I need this. And it just resonates with you. Or you touch it and you're just like, okay, like you can't. Often what happens in my world is I'll touch something and I'll be like, okay, like, even right now, this guy's like, no, you're going to keep holding me. And you try to put it down and your body's like, no, I really want this. So this is the rose quartz. Another is uh, let's say you have a condition or you're looking for a specific outcome, like I want clarity of thought. I want to open up my third eye. I want to increase my digestive fire. I'm not sleeping very well. I need protection. And you look up crystals that are specific for that thing. So you're cross-referencing for yourself. Another way is to ask specifically. You put your hands in the earth is a good way so that you can actually tune into the core of this. Because what are these? These are all earth, right? All earth. All come from the earth. And you can put your hands or your feet into the earth and just ask the divine, ask Gaia, I need support, or I'm looking for support, or what crystal do you feel would be beneficial for me right now? Maybe you'll be given a name. Maybe you'll just be given an image, and then you have to go search out and see if you can find something that's comparable to that image. Maybe you'll be given the image and a feeling, and you won't actually come across that crystal down the road, right? Or you can go digging around for it. Digging around. Get what I did there? Yeah. Right. So, ways to choose. Multiple ways to choose, right? Maybe you're drawn to something and all of a sudden you find you have tons of amethyst. So I'm wearing amethyst. My pendulum, I didn't grab my pendulum. It's in with my session stuff. Um, a pendulum. My pendulum is amethyst, and then I got this chunk of amethyst here. My kid's got a chunk of amethyst. Like, there's definitely certain ones. Rose quartz is big in this house as well. Angelite is the other big one. We have a little bit. We have a lot of other ones, but those are like kind of the big ones. More will be making their way into the house shortly with my partner. So let's talk about ways you can use. So we've gone through ways you can choose. How do you choose your crystals? Has there been a specific thing or way that you've noticed that crystals have come into your life? I'd love to hear. Let me know if you're on or if you're watching the replay. Ways to use. So a way that we do in our house, one of the ways is infusion. You can infuse your water, but there is a big caution attached to this one. And this is like I was referring to earlier, where I was saying you want to make sure you have a trusted source for information. Because you can infuse your water with certain crystals. You can infuse your water in multiple ways with crystals. One is by putting the crystal directly in the water. Rose quartz is a big one in our house that we do. The other is by putting the essence. So essences are another way to utilize crystals. So an essence is the vibrational energetic imprint of the crystal into water, which is then preserved. In this case, this is one that I made of rose quartz. Can you see the words? Oh, there we go. See, there's this rose quartz right here. This was made during the eclipse with the rose quartz on top, and then there's preservatives. So this one is with Saint Remy, so with brandy. And then you can put the drop dosings of these into your water to create energetic vibrational shifts within you towards your end goal or the shifting that you are aiming towards, your desired shifting. So, water, but you need to be careful. Like I said, you have to have a trusted source because some are toxic in water and some are just going to deteriorate in water slowly. You're actually going to ruin your crystals. Okay, so there you go. In water, we talked about angelite. Oh, this guy is shedding a little bit. We talked about angelite, not in water, right? Turns into gypsum. So on the body, you can use crystals on the body. This guy's getting really warm. See, like this guy, I've only been holding not for very long here, and he's like totally powering up. So you can use crystals on the body. As you can see, oh, that's not a crystal, it's a shell, but I've got the amethyst here. This one is opalite, my opalite heart. And then I have chelidony on my finger. So yeah, on your body, and it allows that current to be infused with your own throughout the day. It can also be a source of like if you have stones in your pocket. So on your body, it doesn't have to be jewelry, but it can be like in your pockets and you can touch it. It's like a touch stone. A lot of those little tumbled stones are perfect for that. If you have a medicine bag that you carry around with you, you can put some stones in there and carry them around with you, and they'll have this charge and be around in your vibrational fields to affect change in that way to help with your vibration. If it's a stone of protection, it's gonna, if you're going into a situation that you're like, I need a little bit of extra protection, or a little bit of extra courage, or a little bit of extra love, or maybe all three. You put them all in there, have them with you. And also the ones that you're drawn with. So, all these things that we're talking about, what intuitively do you feel you need to do? It's so easy to get hung up on. This book said, I mean, with the caution stuff, please listen to the books. But with how you choose it, how you use it in regards to topically, like outside of your body, how are you drawn to calling in or looking up that crystal? How are you drawn to using that crystal? Which one are you drawn to using? In that moment, you have a collection at home and you're like, well, you get into your thinking mind, you're like, well, I should definitely take rose quartz today. I definitely should take that. And then you get to the situation and you're like, oh man, now I know why Amazonite was calling me. But I didn't think I needed it. I was like, no, 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 I don't need Amazonite. Definitely something I've learned with my sessions. I'll be putzing around the house, getting all my stuff ready to head over to the clinic space. And I'll be like, oh, that tincture wants to come. I'm like, no, no, I don't need that today. That's not what we're dealing with. That's not what this person is coming to see me for. And inevitably, almost every single time, if I don't listen to that intuitive sense and I overthink it, I get to that session. I was like, oh, I needed that. Mm, that would have been beneficial, right? So we talked about infused water. We talked about on the body. On the body also can be, so we've got jewelry, we've got in our pockets, touchstones, that kind of thing. But also laying down, you've probably seen lots of pictures about this going around the internet, but laying down and actually placing the crystal upon your body. So this is rose quartz and heart. It's very, very heart based, right? So we're talking about heart based. So you can just lay down, place it there, and call in the energy of that. Yeah, call in the energies, lay there. And I mean, I tend to fall asleep. I am very proud of my clients when I come in and I'm like, oh, you fell asleep. And they're just like, because that's what those moments are for. And the work still happens. You need to excuse me just for one moment. Are you also suffering from allergies in this season? Oh my goodness, it's totally picking up. It's time to up the nettles in this household. We're going away to Salt Spring in a couple of weekends, 2 weekends, and I plan on harvesting some nettle because it helps a lot during allergy season. So we got a little bit of allergy stuff happening here too. Okay, on the body. Yes, placing them on the body. You can do different ones, like this one. Iolite said the third eye. I mean, not very. It's just, but I could get a smaller one, right? Pop it on the third eye. Also, as essences, once again, the rose quartz essence on the body. Often in sessions, I did a clearing last week, cutting of cords, and I utilized, I mean, it wasn't a crystal essence, but it was a plant essence, and utilized it on the sacral chakra template points on the back, and dropped those on the points instead of utilizing needles. Powerful and potent. So same thing. These guys, you could place essences upon your body. Different locations. Okay. Essences of, okay, so we talked about essences. I got my notes here because I go tangenting if I don't, which is fine sometimes, but I also like to make sure I'm getting you the information. Rose quartz. So rose quartz, so that's this one. We made a whole set during the eclipse. There's like 13 or something different ones, but they can also be combined with other things. So for example, this is Central Heart. This is one that was made with the plane, the seventh plane. So with the Homage Taji, seventh plane from the Tamiana symbols. That was the essence made from there. And then we have rose quartz in there, as well as, actually, no, this one just had straight rose. I thought it was one of the rose quartz. Anyways, rose, the Homage Taji, which was also an essence, and then the hawthorn. So you can mix them with different things. I often put rose quartz essence in most of my formulations to power up to the finer vibration, the formulations, because love is the highest vibration. And so to add that actually taps in even more potently to your healing potential. Okay, around the home. I'm see 1, 2, 3, 4 behind me. Different areas where there's just like piles of crystals. Just like, here you go, we're just gonna put this pile of crystal here. So it increases the vibration around the home. It can be purifying there, it can be purifying the space, it can be clearing the energies, it can be adding love to the space. And really intuitively, like stuff gets switched up. It's about time the one altar that I can see on my window. It definitely needs to be like you pull it out, you clear it up, you clean it up, and then you re-establish that space to re-potent. I was gonna say potentiaz. Oh my goodness. Re or repower. Welcome to the full super moon. That's all I'm gonna say. This week has been all like I've been feeling very robot-esque. It's going to re-empower you, but it's also going to infuse that space with a new power. It's like when you clean in the spring and you can feel the energy flowing through more. Same thing with your altars and with your crystals. You want to shake them up a little bit once in a while and like shuffle them around, dust them off, get them excited about being next to somebody new. Use your intuition. How do you feel like the crystal wants to be used? Maybe the crystal wants to be placed on your body. Maybe it wants to be placed beside your bed. If it's one that's safe in water, maybe you want to put it in water. All these different things, all these different ways. Listen to your intuition. So again, you can read the books, you can read the internet things, you can hear the talks, you can hear all these things. And then it gives you ideas. It's like cooking, it's like baking. You're like, oh, I've made that recipe once. Now I know how to use it and I can adjust it as I need to. Your intuition is very much like that. When you're not in tune with your intuition, you've been tapped out from it for so long and you're just learning to reestablish it. Yeah, look for guidance from other people, and eventually your intuition's like, oh, and you hear it loud and clear. Same thing with the crystals. Crystals can be used if you practice a modality. I use crystals quite a bit in my practice. So one, like I said, internally as essences, I practice something called esoteric acupuncture. It tunes into the finer vibrations and to the love vibration especially, but it goes through all the different realms and all the different planes to create harmony within your body and to help you clear things on a completely different level and tune into your higher consciousness. It's very beautiful. I was very blessed to find this modality, but it doesn't have to use needles. I've used essences on the points. Somebody's like, no needles, or I'm just being shown and told intuitively from my guides, no needles today. Let's use essences. You can use essences on the points. So crystal essences or herbal essences, but also the crystals on the points. So for example, there's different templates laid upon the body depending on what is going on within your life. Some advanced templates, some simpler templates. Depending on what is being called in for you. But the crystal, I can actually use, let's say there was like a point here and then points, right? I would actually go in and with the intention and channeling the power through me, I place the crystal point. I'm not pushing into the flesh. You can see that that's pushing. I'm gently pushing, like touching, not pushing, gently touching, and then infusing, activating all the points. And then with esoteric acupuncture, you remove them. So I'll go in and remove them with all the points, and it activates. It's a conduit. It's like, well, this is the just the clear quartz, but think of it like, oh, what is that stuff called? When you have the internet and it comes down the cables, and there's like that new advanced cabling system that they have, and it's like the clear and everything goes through really fast because it's just more, I always picture it as more crystalline body. So this is a conduit. The power flows through this. Super potent. Potent. I apparently love that word. I'm just gonna get a shirt that just says potent on it because apparently it's my word of the month or so. Yes, so you can use it within your modalities. You can also use it by placing it upon the person's body or around their body to increase the energy current that's happening. Or maybe you're trying to draw in love. Maybe there's some stuff happening for that person and they need to feel a greater sense of love. Or maybe they need some grounding. So you throw some hematite at their feet. Not literally throw it, but put some hematite by their feet. Right? Maybe they're like, okay, like their third eye, I can feel it. It's not quite fully opening, but like I'm walking in both sides and I just want it to open, or I've had a taste of it and it's just more challenging not for it to be open. Oh, boom, we got the Iolite, and the Iolite's going above the head, right? That kind of thing. Drop dosing. Often there's a person on my table and I'll be like, hey, can I put a drop of essence in your mouth? And it'd be like, okay, or drop on the third eye, those kinds of things. Also, Tamiana crystal healing. If you practice any form of energy work, that crystals around will help boost your signal, so to speak. Tamiana crystal healing is all about the crystals being activated. They're put in a triad with the master symbol, and then you work up the 7 planes with these symbols activating quartz crystals, which then draw in and create this pyramid effect, this tetrahedron effect. Actually, esoteric acupuncture and Tamiana both work in triangles, which is my favorite shape, and tetrahedrons and Merkabas and all of that. So, increase the power of your space with crystals being around it. What do you want to bring into that space? Is there a clearing that needs to happen? Is there a cord cutting that needs to happen? Are you trying to increase the power of your session? Does more love need to happen? What is the essence of that treatment? And so, like we talked earlier about how to choose versus how to use. So how to choose, you're like, okay, I know this client is coming in. These are some crystals that are going to work well for them. I'll have those around the room, maybe lay them on the table, maybe have them hold them, those kinds of things. Plus your intuitive guidance. Oh, I know, keep going back to rose quartz because it's right here. I know rose quartz is for the heart. But then all of a sudden you look over and you're like, huh, there's apatite. I just love the name. It's a beautiful. There's apatite. Doesn't make any sense for what I'm doing, or I don't know, because sometimes you have so many crystals, like, I forget what that does. I have to look it up again. But you're like, it's calling to me. I'm going to bring it in. Right? So intuitive guidance as well again. It can also, we talked about pendulum use. So pendulums are, you can use anything for pendulum, but a crystal as a pendulum increases, again, it's boosting up, that crystalline powder is boosting up the power of that session. And so as a pendulum, so I could use this as a pendulum, right? And you just hold it. I always hold mine over my hand and I ask the questions, or over the thing that I am testing. But if I do not have that thing that I am testing, if it is at a distance, that thing is shrunken, put into my hand visually, and then I hold the pendulum over there and ask the questions. The last one is it can charge the items beside it. So you're trying to, they can work in synergy with each other. Like I actually, looking here, let's see if I can show you. It might be too shadowed, but see? Let's see. Can we see? Can we see? This guy is pointing at this guy. So this is bringing up the charge, charging him up. If I turn him around, he's pulling some of the energy out and it would point it. So if there was something here, it would actually be pointing towards that item if there was a body there, and increasing the current of the rose quartz towards the person's body. Maybe I'm wanting to charge up the rose quartz with another energy, and for example, I put oh my goodness, that's power. I love when these things come up. The iolite on one side, the crystal pointing towards the heart, and now this is being charged with some of the iolite. And the opening of the third eye with the connection to love and to the heart. So actually, the central heart that I showed you earlier is the connection of the heart but it's the connection of the heart to the crown chakra, which connects into the consciousness of love, the full collective consciousness of love. So many things. So many things that crystals, and this is just even touching the surface. I asked my partner before I popped on, I was like, how do you use crystals? Like, exactly, like I know how he uses crystals, like during his treatments and stuff like that. But I was like, how else do you use crystals? And I had to be like, whoa, I have to be on in like 15 minutes. I gotta go. Because there's so many ways and there's so many things about the earth and about these beauties, right? So, if you have any questions, I would love to hear them. If you're watching the replay, I would love to know how you use crystals, or what is preventing you from using crystals. If you're not using crystals now, what prevents you from using them more? Do you even have an interest in crystals, or are you just watching this because you're like, oh sweet, something new? Yeah. Okay, that is all for today. I think I am actually I now just want to go and sit with my Iolite and see how long it's going to take that bad boy to warm up. We'll see if that happens. I got a couple other things to do today, but so much love and stardust to you. This full supermoon that just went past, be gentle with yourself. It is a doozy. It is a powerful one. A doozy in a good way. But as we are integrating into the energies, it can be add another layer as we are going through our regular day. Be gentle with each other. And if you need the space to integrate and to incorporate, ask for that space. Pull yourself back and say, I'm just going to go take some time for me. And if somebody asks for that space, say thank you. Enjoy your space. I will see you on the other side. Okay, so much love and stardust, and I will talk to you soon.